Yakuza 6 is the next chapter in the Yakuza franchise and in the story of Kiryu Kazuma. Maybe it will even be the last chapter in his story. Surely, right? Yakuza 6 is video game number 6 to star Kiryu as a playable protagonist. Now, before you correct me, note that in Yakuza 5 he actually wasn't playable. That was Suzuki Taichi. But I know not everyone can be a Yakuza lore expert quite like I am one. I also do not count any of the non-canon spin-off appearances. After 3 games of Kiryu more or less taking the backseat to arguably more interesting protagonists, and also Tanimura, he is finally back in a solo protagonist adventure, spanning 2 cities and featuring iconic series mainstay characters, most of whom have almost nothing to do. This game is quite a milestone in Yakuza history. In a series first, fights have been completely removed from this game. Instead, you will now play this annoying-ass baby minigame every 10 steps you walk. No, I promise you, it's fun, just wait until you unlock the heat actions, okay? Additionally, this is the first Yakuza game in the new and improved Dragon engine, which makes it possible to seamlessly enter and exit buildings, and which also comes with very funny ragdoll physics. While I do appreciate the new engine, sadly John Yakuza feels like a sack of beans in combat, so I wouldn't exactly call it a straight improvement over Yakuza 5 and Yakuza 0 gameplay-wise. But trust me, Dragon engine combat will be good eventually. There's also this new leveling system, where you gain XP by exercising endless gluttony at restaurants and using steroids and other bizarre supplements to instantly empty your stomach, so you can do it all over again. Additionally, Yakuza 6 is the first entry in the Yakuza series that gives us a lore reason for why John Yakuza is as swole as he is. Fucker doesn't skip leg day, that's for damn sure. The story starts with the last game left off. After having survived the ordeals at the end of Yakuza 5, Kazuma Balls goes to prison, for plot reasons. Also beloved fan-favorite characters Majima, Daigo and Saejima go to prison. Don't expect to see them anytime soon. Haruka, whose idol career is over for good, returns to the orphanage, and the children don't even look like a PS2 game anymore. Man, things really do change. When Kiryu finally gets out of the joint and returns to the orphanage, all is well, except for the part where Haruka is gone. A while back she left the orphanage, for she was convinced that her and her idol past only brought misfortune to the other children. He immediately returns to Tokyo in search of her, and talks to Date and also Akiyama, who is back to being homeless as he's been having trouble with the Chinese. A lot has happened in general here in Kamurocho while Kiryu was gone. The current war between Tojo and the Chinese mafia is going on, thanks to some shadow men burning Little Asia to the ground. John Yakuza, of course, has a special talent of immediately getting involved in all gang-related warfare in his area, which is why he keeps fighting Chinese gooners and Chinese Ed. Kiryu doesn't really find out much until Date calls him to tell him that Haruka has been hit by a car. What the fuck? At the hospital, Akiyama is immediately drip-checked out of there. Then we find out 2 things. First, Haruka is in a coma, and it is unknown when, or rather if, she is going to wake up. Second, as she was hit, she clung to a baby by the name of Haruto, Haruka's son. All of this has Kiryu crashing out. He beats up Akiyama, kidnaps the baby, threatens to bury the Tojo clan, and after getting a lead on Haruka having been in Hiroshima, he takes the baby and goes there immediately. The first thing he does there is hang out in a bar and get shit-faced, asking bar lady Kiyomi for leads. Here he also meets Nagumo, captain of a local Yakuza family and expert in getting his shit kicked in by Kiryu. And finally he meets this schlub, who lets him use an apartment of his for the time being because he's such a simp for Kiyomi. Actually same deal as Nagumo. Kiryu then helps out the simp man by joining the baseball game, which is played in a most dubious manner. And then we beat up Nagumo again, and also his friends. And then Kiryu goes back to Kiyomi's bar and beats up Nagumo again. And then some other Yakuza also beats up Nagumo, which we cannot forgive. So we beat up that guy and Nagumo becomes our #1 fan. Kiryu has now successfully become acquainted with another small-time family with a funny boss man and a hothead who calls Kiryu his Aniki. Now that we have set up base here, Onomichi is our new temporary hood. And there's a bunch of stuff to do here. And they've got Baseball Manager 2016 in here, which works a bit differently from the main story rule set. You can also take part in professional gang warfare, not like the main story offers enough of that. The storyline there is kinda Kiwami to Majima clan builder levels of sleep-inducing though. As for the sub-stories, well, pretty much every side quest in Onomichi was written by some guy who just watched a bunch of anime movies like an hour before his deadline was due, I'm pretty sure. Except for the Onomichi side quest, which was written by a true author. The Pocket Fighter sub-story meanwhile, man, I don't even know what they're doing here. There's no pocket circuit, and the fighter has become a victim of society. Married to a real battle axe, forced to sell tofu. The light in his eye is gone out. And then also John John Yakuza is fighting actual ghosts and a fucking giant squid for some reason. But also, aside from the side content, a lot of things happen in Onomichi. Kiryu makes friends with some Yakuza, enemies with other Yakuza, spends nice bonding time with his new friends, and smashes a lot of faces in. He is still looking for Haruka, whom the members of his newly adopted Yakuza family claim to know nothing about, though they're obviously stinking to sus heavens. But eventually they come clean, revealing that Haruka came to Onomichi years ago, and that she was actually working at Kiyomi's bar. Kiyomi too comes clean, telling us that she has a hunch about who Haruka's father might be, but doesn't reveal it yet. What is revealed though is that she is apparently the ex-wife of Somea, one of the two current top weasels of the Tojo clan, who just so happens to be in Onomichi right now. Soon after, Kiyomi is kidnapped, and the gang of course immediately suspects the guy. With our new family's boss Beat Takeshi's great tip of wearing a mask in mind, they break into the property Somea is currently residing in, and put their masks to great use. Kiryu fights Somea, who goes balls out, just not quite balls out enough. After that, the gang finds that Kiyomi is here, and this goon as well, and this old guy, both the founder of Iwami Shipbuilding, the local gigantic shipbuilding empire, and also chairman of the Yomei clan, as well as his son, who is now CEO of Iwami Shipbuilding. They try to get Kiryu involved as a witness in their strange scheme to create an alliance between the Yomei and the Tojo, but Kiryu is like, nah. Nagumo is depressed by the whole development, cause, well, feels like a bit of a cuck I suppose. Kiyomi got an ex-husband and a child as well. Meanwhile, Kiryu gets Kiyomi to give him the name of the man who might be Haruto's father, Tatsukawa. With the lead of Tatsukawa, Kiryu and the boys decide to head over to Kamurocho to firstly find the guy, and secondly, find out why exactly Haruka was there at all. As soon as we are there, Nagumo posts cringe and Yuta shits his pants. Also, as is customary when arriving in Kamurocho, we spin the wheel of fortune to find out which series mainstay character we encounter there. Well, as we are looking for a jackass host type of guy, we head to Stardust, which has become an unfamiliarly cold place, turning us away. Yuya appears at the perfect time to tell us about how Stardust, like many places here, is now in control of the Koreans, and they go for a nice Korean dinner, which Korean Virgil, boss of the Korean mafia, also attends, graciously bringing his own cut of meat with him. He also extends an invitation to Stardust to Kiryu and the others, which is accepted, though on the way there they are attacked by Koreans, and in the secret underground lair of Stardust, Yuta is goaded into getting his ass kicked by Korean Man, which Kiryu cannot accept, which is why Korean Man also gets his ass kicked. Virgil tells us that Tatsukawa is a secret Chinese and gives us the address where he lives. Well, used to live. He's still there, mind you, just dead. Kiryu and gang suspect that the Chinese were behind the secret Chinese guy's death and go find Akiyama, who also has beef with them. Together, they sneak into the Chinese Mafia HQ, where Kiryu meets good old Ed, who killed the secret Chinese, and talks about the Heihaizi, who are secret Chinese, who the Triad helped become Japanese, Tatsukawa being one of them. After fighting, Kiryu and the gang land in a bit of a pickle, considering the Chinese have a couple more guns than they do. This Yomei alliance prick is also here, for he is a secret Chinese. And Big Boss Big Lo is here, who decides that Kiryu shouldn't die, as he has other uses for him, and lets him go. He also says something in Chinese to his subordinates, which Yuta understands because he did the Chinese Duolingo course before they used AI to make it unusable. Lo having talked about Onomichi having some big secret that should never come out. We see a scene of Somea having a bit of a heated gaming moment, when a Yakuza higher up insults Kiryu, and soon after he actually visits us himself in New Serena. He dodges a bunch of questions and then asks to come along to the Big Lo meeting, which Kiryu accepts. Of course, Somea uses that opportunity to try and kill Lo, but he needs to go through the Dragon of Dojima first to do so, which he doesn't manage. You truly are like a dragon. Lo spares Somea's life, treating him like a worm, and reveals to Kiryu that Tatsukawa was not Haruto's father, and that the baby shall prove extremely important in the Kamurocho war. Kiryu then gets a call from Yuta, as Hirose has apparently gone and kidnapped Haruto. Back in Onomichi, the gang goes on a wild chase to find the old man and the baby, and the main family is doing the very same thing. Kiyomi, who was taking care of Haruto until Hirose went Kiryu mode on him, also drops some Somea wife-beater law on us. Kiryu follows crumbs of information to this shrine, where Beat Takeshi should be waiting, but first he must fight the big Yomei bastard man. Finally we catch up to the old man. I assure you, I only kidnapped this child to protect him. Kiryu, experienced in kidnapping himself, is very understanding. Hirose then reveals that he had been looking after Haruka, and reveals to all the true identity of the baby's father, Yuta. This raises the question if this guy actually knows how babies are made, which I think he doesn't. Also, the secret Chinese guy reveals that Yuta is actually a secret Chinese, son of Big Lo, and next in line to lead the Chinese mafia, as Big Lo's other son, Small Lo, was killed by Koreans at some point. Speaking of, evil Koreans then come by to kidnap the baby, which leads to this scene where Haruto is thrown around like a football. What is Yakuza even about, man? Virgil succeeds in his mission, and Yuta becomes a little baby bitch boy, until he has his Narancia moment, and Kiryu and the gang go to get back Haruto. And Kiryu catches up with Virgil and beats the shit out of him. Han Solo reveals that the Koreans have been working for Iwami and have collaborated on iconic hits such as this. He is then shot by a mysterious man, who also shot Secret Chinese No. 2. The gang suspects Iwami and or the Chinese mafia to be behind all this. Kiryu takes his Sota son-in-law to Kamurocho, where they plan on talking to Big Lo to get him to leave Haruto alone. They being Kiryu, as Yuta has a slightly different plan. He's like, alright, I'ma head out, take a piss, and he gets shit-faced drunk in the street, and then decides, hey, why not drink some more with my newly discovered dad? But then Sephiroth takes hold of him and Cloud is like, did Sephiroth do this? Kiryu joins the party and wants to stop Yuta from killing his father. We're having an emotional moment here while everything is burning to the ground, so luckily the fire's chill like that, lets us take our time. Kiryu succeeds in stopping Yuta, and then the lot of them teleport out of there. What a happy ending indeed. Lo has now also vowed to resign the order to kill Haruto. It reveals what's been going on. Everything that has transpired has done so according to the design of Yomei chairman guy, to protect the secret of Onomichi, and Yuta's attempt on Lo's life too was due to the manipulation of a certain man. That man being Takeshi, who was also the secret gunman killing people left and right. Of course Yuta doesn't want to believe this. What are you, stupid? We just watched a flashback confirming this to be true. Get with the program. Our new goal is to reveal the secret of Onomichi, which has been kept hidden since the end of World War II by the joint efforts of the Yomei chairman and the Chinese mafia boss, Lo's father. Iwami Jr. also has an evil plan going on at the moment, using the new wave Tojo guys Somei and Sugai to usurp the clan by staging a fake war and all that sort of jazz. He's also the reason why Daigo is sitting in prison at the moment. But yeah, these days nobody outside of the Yomei boss man knows what exactly the secret of Onomichi is. Though we do get a secret code from Lo the Bigger, which might lead us to uncover it. Upon returning to Onomichi to crack this case wide open, the Hirose family starts hating on us for believing that Hirose is evil, and we get the rare pleasure of fighting Nagumo. And then the Yomei attack us, and then the Hirose family decides to help us after all. They'll help us to find the secret, but only to clear the boss's name, of course. With their help, and with a bit of grave robbing, we find the location where the secret of Onomichi will be revealed. But when arriving at the promised place to uncover the secret, Takeshi comes by to reveal that he is evil, and loses a fight against Kiryu because he's like 86 years old, what the fuck? The secret of Onomichi is revealed. Really big boat. Then the Yomei chairman comes by, and we get a bunch of backstory about how Takeshi became the chairman's humble servant back in like 1765, and how the boss made him kill everyone to protect the secret of Onomichi. Those kills including these guys' fathers. This backstory also makes you wonder how old this guy is if Takeshi is in his 80s, and what the fuck? Holy shit, this guy is 100 years old? The final order of the chairman is for Takeshi to kill his family, which he doesn't do, which of course justifies the chairman killing him instead. He also drops a little truth nuke. Daidoji, shadow government man involved in this whole cover-up situation, actually wanted him to dismantle the battleship. The decrepit chairman was actually the one who decided to keep the battleship as blackmail, so really Hirose never really needed to kill anyone. Oh well. The chairman then leaves to get killed by his son, who is somewhat of a Yakuza cosplayer himself. The final thing Iwami Jr. must do to become the new Yomei chairman, as dictated by old fossil Daidoji, is kill Kiryu. Meanwhile, Kiryu is informed that Haruka has finally woken up from her coma. Somei is also in Onomichi, warning Kiryu of Iwami, who is planning on killing him and using Sugai to seize control of the Tojo, while already being the de facto leader of the Yomei. Shortly after, the squad fights their way through the Yomei and heads over to Tokyo. Back in Kamurocho, Kiryu finally sees Haruka again. Maybe things will end happily this time, huh? But of course, there's still something that must be taken care of first. Sugai should be waiting up on the Millennium Tower, so Kiryu takes the other 4 Yakuza with him. But then Akiyama stops him and is like, bro, you're 5 guys. This is Yakuza 6. And so the Yakuza 6 embark to the Millennium Tower. Up on the Millennium Tower, something unexpected happens. Sugai isn't actually here, he's just joining via Zoom. Instead, Somei is here, ready to fight us. What the hell? hostage situation, yeah, that explains it I guess. Somea must kill Kiryu to save his ex-wife, but of course he cannot manage. Somea commits Sudoku to stop Kiyomi's death, which the gang of evil as a final fuck you just sort of ignores. With his last breath, Somea makes Nagumo promise to become an adoptive dad. He's like, yeah, sure, of course. Kiryu and Nagumo, who I guess don't care that they are both sort of guardians, but I guess not legal guardians actually, decide that they are the ones who need to finish all this, even if they go down in the process. Not wanting to drag the others in anymore, just the two of them head to the Onomichi shipyard, where the two slimeball motherfuckers are waiting. After fighting through the Yomei brutes, these two sons of bitches reveal their newest shittery, as they still had not gotten to kidnap Haruto, which I will say does seem a bit unfair. They decided to do just that, and they took the fucking package deal, that's for sure. Kiryu had made the classic mistake of leaving Haruka and also Haruto this time in the care of Date, which has literally never worked out before. So now, Iwami has hostages, which means that Kiryu can do nothing but let himself be killed. Except Yuta and gang show up and help out, which means that now nothing stands in the way of John Yakuza killing the hell out of little baby boy Iwami. Iwami is defeated all too easily, but the true villain of the Yakuza series is still going strong. Cutscene gun. Tsugai tries to shoot Haruka, but she is not shot, for Yuta acts as a human shield. But he is not shot, for Kiryu acts as a human shield. And he is shot. He aura farms so hard that Tsugai kills himself, and then Kiryu succumbs to his wounds, dying by Haruka's side. Except of course, death has never killed Kiryu before, so why would it start now? Upon waking up, some guy representing the shadowy Daidoji man, who by the way died earlier as well, I kind of forgot to mention that, offers Kiryu hush money, so that all that awful business can be covered up easily. Kiryu doesn't like the deal, and instead demands that he has to fake his own death. Now that's a sweet deal. To the entire world, save for Date, Kiryu Kazuma is dead now. He's not seeing Akiyama again. He's not seeing his Tojo friends again. He is definitely not seeing Tanimura again. In a final act of help for the Tojo, he orchestrated the Shadow Man to get Daigo out of prison, and told Daigo, who he sees as his son, not to go to war with the Yomi for his sake. With Kiryu accepting his fate of never seeing his family again, the Kiryu saga is over. Well, mostly.